what it meant to grow up in a small American town, a journey of nostalgia and transformation. Picture a warm summer morning in a town so small that crossing Main Street gives you a glimpse into everyone's lives through shop windows. Conversations flow as if the whole world were one big family, and even the silences have something to say. Life moves at a different pace, people are different, and time seems to stretch, allowing you to live each moment with rare intensity. I grew up in a town like that. A place where everyone knew every street by name, but where life still felt full of mystery, secrets, and dreams. What I'm about to share isn't just a distant memory, but a living experience, one that shaped my view of the world and, with any luck, might resonate with something deep inside you. I'm someone who spent their childhood surrounded by barbed wire fences and dim streetlights, where every story told around a July 4th bonfire seemed powerful enough to define an entire life. Growing up in a small American town wasn't just a phase, it was a journey of discovery, of boundaries tested, and freedom gained. For many, small-town life means peace and simplicity, but also quiet struggles. For others, it's a safe haven of deep roots, where the familiar always outweighs the unknown. But behind that calm exterior lies a life of rich complexity, and that's what I invite you to explore with me now. What does it really mean to grow up in a small American town? It's more than just daily life. It's how memories become part of the very walls of each home, how stories shape the paths of youth, and how the urge to leave can be just as strong as the need to come back. Imagine a town where dirt roads and simple porches are the image of a place where everyone knows your name. Every corner tells a story, every smile carries the weight of lives lived together. In a small town, time slows down, but somehow, life is felt more intensely. Routines blur into traditions. The future is uncertain, and the past is always in sight. Growing up in a small town in America isn't just an experience, it's a vibrant portrait of a lifestyle that many long for, but few truly understand. I remember it like it was yesterday. Those endless summer afternoons when the 3 p.m. heat made the asphalt shimmer, and crickets and cicadas were the only sounds filling the air of a town half asleep. A warm breeze would stir the trees along Main Street, and conversations on front porches echoed like shared stories in a communal diary. Life in a small town is an intricate tapestry, woven from small moments, glances exchanged at the local market, greetings at the gas station. Even the mechanic knows not only the state of your engine, but your deepest fears. Community is the soul of a small town. There's no place where people are more connected. What it lacks in anonymity, it makes up for in closeness. I remember old neighbors who never needed to knock. They just knew when something was off. In small towns, no one hides. Everyone's watching, helping, protecting, sometimes comfortingly, sometimes suffocatingly. Even empty streets feel full, like the space between houses is just an extension of the love and tension that define human relationships. Culture crashing through the white picket fence. Behind the white fences and tidy gardens, pop culture was shaking things up. Television became the new window to the outside world, offering a mix of innocence and disillusionment. Shows like The Brady Bunch depicted the ideal suburban family, full of harmless mischief and everyday joys. But other shows, like All in the Family, pulled no punches in mocking the very tensions, racial, generational, and political, that were boiling just beneath the surface. Music, too, became a force of change. Rock, disco, punk, and folk dominated the airwaves, flooding suburban homes with new energy and new messages. Bands like the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and The Clash provided the soundtrack for youth ready to challenge everything, from war to beauty standards to suburban expectations. Young people were throwing off the chains of tradition and rewriting their own rules, often at odds with their parents. A world beyond the fence. In the suburbs of the 70s, there was both a yearning for preservation and a hunger for change. Families craved safety, order, and refuge from the chaos of urban life, but they couldn't ignore the tensions rising at their doorstep. Fear of the future, war, and economic downturn mixed with the desire for freedom and self-expression, creating the perfect storm of internal conflict and re-examination of values. It was a time of dual realities. On one side, there was comfort, tradition, and stability. On the other, anxiety, transformation, and a society unsure of where it was headed. The 1970s suburbs were a mirror of a nation on the brink of reinvention. In the end, suburban life in the 70s wasn't a story of perfection or failure, it was a story of change. Of how an entire generation struggled to find balance between past and future, between tradition and evolution, between the need for safety and the thirst for freedom. In every home, on every street, in every neighborhood, the unique story was unfolding, and none of them were exactly the same. The true beauty of the 1970s suburbs wasn't in their perfection, but in how people tried to find their place in a world undergoing profound transformation. But even in all that beauty, there were challenges. Like in any small town, opportunities were limited, and the horizon, though wide, often felt narrow. What seemed like a simple life sometimes turned into a quiet cycle of conformity, where expectations overshadowed personal dreams. I remember classmates who left in search of more opportunity, more freedom, trading the calm of home for the chaos of big cities. For some, leaving was an act of courage. For others, it was quiet escape from a place that had raised them but no longer fit them. School was the epicenter of our world. A tiny place where teachers were more than instructors, they were mentors, counselors, and often family friends. With classes of 30 students or fewer, school felt like an extended family. The relationships ran deep, as if learning wasn't just about math and science, but about character and community. But small classes meant everyone knew everything. Bullying, even subtle, became a silent battle for those who didn't fit the town's mold. The pressure to conform was real. There was a well-worn path: finish school, get a local job, or return to the family farm. It wasn't always easy, but it came with a strong sense of belonging, something rare in big cities. The pride of being part of something constant and unchanging was comforting. But for those who longed for more than what was expected, life could feel like a glass cage. The world was out there, but the town's familiar rhythms made it hard to leave. I also remember how time felt different. In small towns, days crawl, but change creeps in quietly. Everything feels still, until suddenly, it isn't. A new shop opens on Main Street, a family moves into the house on the corner, and you realize your hometown is subtly shifting. What once felt unchangeable begins to yield to the future. But here's the thing about small towns: they change, but they never stop being themselves. A small town is like an old photograph. It ages, but never really fades. And somehow, you always return to it, like a living memory. Yet the hardest part of growing up in a small town is finding meaning beyond the day-to-day. The need to become more than the baker's kid or the mechanic's nephew. But even when you escape to big cities and lose yourself in the crowds, something always pulls you back. The simplicity you left behind. The comfort of people who truly know you. The smells of earth and home-cooked meals. The familiar neighborhood sounds. And in the end, after experiencing the chaos and complexity of urban life, you realize you never really left your small town. It's always lived quietly inside you. Growing up in a small town is a paradox of peace and intensity. It's a place where family and community ties run deep, but where dreams must often be loud to be heard. And even when the world beyond offers new chances, the small town remains the place that shaped you, the starting point of a journey that never really lets go.